started. Welcome to this Algebra 2 session on multiplying polynomials. So we're going to look at multiplying polynomial expressions and writing polynomial expressions that represent the area of rectangles. So just some things about monomials. They can be multiplied times other monomials, times binomials, times trinomials, and times polynomials in general. So something's a monomial if it's a product of numbers and variables. If it doesn't have any addition or subtraction, you know it's a monomial. So some things to remember when you're multiplying by a monomial. You may need to apply the rules for dealing with exponents. You may need to use the distributive property. And you definitely will need to remember the rules for multiplying fine numbers. So let's look at two monomials that are multiplying each other, 4x cubed times 3x squared. So I can't do anything within the parentheses for either of these, so I can drop the parentheses, and I will have 4x cubed times 3x squared. This is all multiplication. It's 4 times x cubed times 3 times x squared. So if I want to rewrite it, so I have my numbers together, my variables together, I can by the commutative property. 4 times 3 times x cubed times x squared. I multiply the numbers to give me 12, and x cubed times x squared, if you go back to the properties that we've been working with, when you have two bases that are the same and you're multiplying them, you can combine to a single base and add the exponents. So it'll be 12x to the power of 3 plus 2, or 12x to the 5th. Next, we have multiply 2x times the quantity x squared minus 3x plus 5. This is a monomial, 2x, times a trinomial, x squared minus 3x plus 5. This is a trinomial because it has 3 terms. So I need to use my distributive property here. And I'm going to multiply the 2x times everything in the parentheses. So I'll be taking the 2x times x squared, the 2x times negative 3x, and the 2x times 5. (2x times x squared), and I put a plus between them, between each multiplication. 2x times negative 3x plus 2x times 5. So again, remember there is a 1 in front of that x squared. So I'm multiplying 2 times 1 to give me 2. And x times x squared, the x has an exponent of 1. So I combine to a single base of x, and I add my exponents, and I get x to the 3rd. Next, I'm taking 2 times negative 3, which gives me a minus 6. X times x. I have two bases that are the same, so I add their exponents. They both have exponents of 1, so that gives me x squared. And then for the last one, 2 times 5 gives me a positive 10, and I have the x that I multiply by the 10. And that's my final answer. Now we're going to look at multiplying two binomials. These are two binomials because I have one term and one term in the parentheses, which makes it a binomial. I have a term here and a term here, which makes this one a binomial as well. And the terms are separated by addition or subtraction. So when I'm multiplying two binomials, you may have done this in the past, and you may remember using what's called FOIL to remember to help you remember what you need to multiply. So in essence, though, what you're doing is you're using the distributive property because you're taking each part of the first term, or each part of the first binomial, times each term of the second binomial. So FOIL is just a mnemonic to help you remember how to do it. So we do first terms. F represents first terms. So we multiply x times x. Outside is O, so we'll be taking x times 2. I represents inside, so we'll be taking negative 6 times x. And L represents last, which will be 6 times 2. Then you perform these multiplications. X times x is x squared, because remember I can combine to a single base and add the exponents. 2 times x will be 2x. Negative 6 times x will be negative 6x. And 6 times 2 is 12. And then I put these together by addition or subtraction, depending on the sign of the number. So I will have x squared plus 2x minus 6x plus 12. And from here, I need to simplify if I can, or combine like terms if I can. And you can see that 2x and minus 6x are like terms. So I combine those two. 2x minus 6x is a negative 4x. So for my final answer, I have x squared minus 4x plus 12. All right, let's look at finding the area of a rectangle. You can see that I have here a length of 2x plus 7 and a width of 3x minus 5. So if you remember how to find the area of a rectangle, it's length times width. So I'm going to take the length times the width here, and I want to make sure, as I think I've pointed out in the past, we want to make sure that if it's a binomial or anything other than a monomial, that you put parentheses around it when you use it in a formula or in a simplifying problem. So we're going to be doing 2x plus 7 times 3x minus 5. And I'm going to use FOIL. However, I'm not going to write FOIL out again as I did before. I'm just going to go write it in a horizontal line here. So I'm going to take 2x times 3x, and then I put a plus between, and I'm taking 2x times negative 5x, or times negative 5, and then I'm going to multiply 7 times 3x, put a plus between, and then I'm going to multiply 7 times negative 5, put a plus between, and I perform those multiplications, and 2x times 3x will be 6x squared. 2x times negative 5 is a minus 10x. 7 times 3x is a 21x. And 7 times negative 5 is a minus 35. So combining my like terms, negative 10x and 21x will give me an 11x. So my final answer is 6x squared plus 11x minus 35. All right, and our last problem that we're going to take a look at is multiplying. I'm going to cover this up for a moment so we can talk about this problem. Multiplying x plus 3 times the quantity 3x cubed minus x squared plus 5x minus 6. So what we're doing here is multiplying a binomial times a polynomial. So lots of multiplications, and you may have seen that quickly before I covered it up. Lots of multiplications going on here. And I like to do everything in a horizontal row. However, I'm sure your lesson shows you a different way that you can do it as well. So whichever way works for you is the way that you should do the problem. But no matter which way you choose to write it, we're still doing the same steps. You're doing the distributive property by taking each term of this binomial times each term of the polynomial. So you're doing a lot of multiplication. So let's take a look here. I am first taking this x times 3x cubed, and I have it written here. I put a plus between all of my multiplications. I'm taking x times negative x squared. I'm taking x times 5x. And I'm taking x times negative 6. Then I'm taking the 3 times 3x cubed, the 3 times negative x squared, the 3 times the 5x, and the x times the negative 6. So again, note that I'm putting plus between all of these multiplications. I'm keeping the sign with the number. The minus sign makes that 6 negative, so I'm keeping that in my multiplications. And the same with the x squared. It's a negative x squared. So then what I'm going to do is write out all of these multiplications. So writing out all of these multiplications will give me x times 3x cubed is 3x to the 4th, because remember I add my exponents. X times negative x squared will be a minus x to the 3rd. Again, adding my exponents. X times 5x will be a plus 5x squared, adding my exponents. X times negative 6 will be a minus 6x. 3 times 3x cubed will be a plus 9x cubed. 3 times negative x squared will be a minus 3x squared. 3 times 5x will be a plus 15x. And 3 times negative 6 will be a minus 18. So from there, what I need to do is go through and combine like terms. So if you look through, 3x to the 4th I can't combine with anything. So that just comes down as part of my answer. X cubed I can combine, or minus x cubed, I can combine with 9x cubed. Remember there is a 1 here, so it's negative 1x cubed plus 9x cubed, which is 8x cubed. I'm going to underline that so you know where that came from. And then 5x squared, if I look, I can combine that with minus 3x squared, which will give me a plus 2x squared. Underline that with green. And then negative 6x, or minus 6x, I can combine that with the 15x. So that gives me a 9x. And then the minus 18, I don't have anything that I can combine that with. So that then is my final answer. 3x to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 2x squared plus 9x minus 18. So a lot going on with this problem. A lot of things that you need to keep straight. You want to write out all the steps, be very organized with the problem, so that you lessen your chances of making a sign error or an addition, subtraction error. So be very careful. And that ends the session on multiplying polynomials.